following is a live presentation of CBC Sports.
Autumn in Regina, the backdrop today for drama. Players from Saskatchewan and Calgary are poised for performances of record proportions. A rose-colored era. Peter List throws a record 40 touchdown passes, making Terry Evanchen the league's leading receiver. The modern-day Doug Flutie is the first quarterback to threaten that milestone. Elusive and precise, he has carved his way to within 2 touchdown passes of List's 26-year-old record. Flutie, too, has a Canadian receiver on the verge of Evanchen's greatness. Dave Sapunjas is 9 catches from a record 100 for a Canadian. But no team throws a football as often as Saskatchewan. Kent Austin pitching to the CFL's best core of catchers. It is a battery led by the time-honored veteran. Ray Elgard, the old guard, is within reach of 2 CFL records in a career-long ascent to the top of the CFL pass-catching standings, and his public anticipates the moment. The record book awaits rewriting in the waning weeks of the CFL season.
The CFL on CBC. Today, from Taylor Field in Regina, the Calgary Stampeders against the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And it's the final home game of the season at Taylor Field and a possible preview of the West Division semifinal. Amid continued debate and controversy over the 4-team playoff format in the West, this game will indeed leave a lasting impression in 3 weeks' time if these 2 teams meet in the playoffs. And that's the way it looks right now. Calgary far and away in first place. Saskatchewan 4th. They need a better record than either BC or Edmonton if they are to move higher than 4th and avoid Calgary in the first round. And the Stampeders come into this game without their #1 running back, Keevan Jenkins. He broke his arm last week against Toronto. Replacing him, rookie Tony Stewart, who has played in only 3 games this season. He will carry the ball the rest of the way for Calgary. And while Jenkins makes his exit, Don Matthews is making his return to the sidelines. Matthews is back 2 weeks after emergency surgery to remove a perforated appendix. And while Don is regaining his strength, he hopes his team will gain momentum down the stretch towards the playoffs. Well, for their thoughts on this big game on a glorious day here in Regina, let's go to the broadcast booth and welcome Dan Kepley and Don Whitman.
Thank you, Mark. Hi, everybody. Dan, today, Doug Flutie is celebrating his 31st birthday, and the Calgary quarterback would like to do it in style by etching his name into the CFL record.
Well, I think he can, but the main thing that's important is that Calgary has to go out there and establish that they can win this football game. After that fact, the records will take care of themselves, I'm sure.
Flutie on October 10th did not have one of his better passing days, completing less than 50% of his throws for only the 2nd time this season. He had 1 interception and 1 touchdown pass. In that game in Calgary at McMahon Stadium, Kent Austin did not play. He was watching from the press box. I think Calgary defensively will find a much tougher Saskatchewan team with Kent Austin at the controls rather than Warren Jones.
Well, I think they certainly will, but Warren Jones did an excellent job down in Calgary. 2 big turnovers created some problems for him. But Kent Austin, the trigger guy right there, an excellent reader of defenses, will get rid of the ball, and he will take advantage of this Calgary defense if possible.
And Austin today hopes to move the Saskatchewan Roughriders into a 2nd-place tie with the Edmonton Eskimos. Mark?
Don, he has a golden day in the Queen City. Winds are relatively calm. Forecast high today, 17. Favorable conditions for good football. And it all begins when we come back.
A gorgeous October afternoon in the Queen City of Saskatchewan as about 25,000 football fans are in attendance at Taylor Field for the Riders' final home game of the season. Wally Buono has his team in first place. The only thing that remains to be decided is which team he will meet in the playoffs. Don Matthews would like to have his team in 2nd place and host one of the semifinal games in the West. Wiggins takes the opening kickoff, and as he moves up the left side, he's brought down at the 40-yard line by Dan Rasevich. A 15-yard return. Peter Miller was also in on the stop for Calgary. Doug Flutie, 38 touchdown passes this season. Flutie would like to erase the mark of 40, as Mark pointed out in the pregame show established by Peter Lisk in the 1967 season. 38 touchdown passes for Flutie, the second time in his career that he has thrown that many. He also had 38 in 1991. Handoff inside to Tony Stewart, and Stewart battles his way up to the 45-yard line. This is only the fourth start for Tony Stewart, necessitated, of course, by the injury that ended the season for Kevan Jenkins. So Tony Stewart replaces Jenkins in the backfield alongside Andy McVeigh. David Sapunjas needs 9 receptions to become the first Canadian 100-yard receiver in a season. This is an offensive line that has permitted just 20 quarterback sacks this season. Flutie operating from the shotgun on 2nd and 5. Sapunjas has got it. First down at the 47-yard line. Gerald Bayless is having an outstanding season. As a matter of fact, Don Matthews said that he may be the best down lineman in the entire league. A pretty solid linebacking core, not much experience there. And on the corner, Barry Wilburn and Albert Brown have played very well this year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 6 defensive backs. The hitch screen to Wiggins. Wiggins fights his way to the 40-yard line for a gain of 6.
Doug doing an excellent job so far coming out, trying to mix and keep this Saskatchewan defense off balance. Runs the counter trap inside, then goes to a post corner, then comes back to the hitch screen. And everything is starting to set up. You have to be very, very cautious at this time to go out there. The one thing about the Calgary Stampeders that they didn't do the last time against Saskatchewan, they didn't feel that they executed properly or as well as they could.
Flutie completed just 18 of 37 on the 10th of October. Flutie throws over the middle, incomplete. He was looking for Will Moore. Benson Donaldson and Barry Wilburn were both there to defend against Moore. So the Calgary Stampeder drive comes to an end at the 40-yard line of Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan has had success against Doug Flutie as far as putting heat on him. They feel that their pressure defense, getting good rushes from Jerson and also Stuart Hill on the outside, making Flutie have to pull up quickly. And then the good push from up the middle between Gary Lewis and Gerald Bayless are being able to get up in Doug Flutie's face and make him throw the ball off balance.
Mark McLaughlin, the CFL's leading scorer with 184 points, is wide. Albert Brown comes out of the end zone, and Albert Brown brings it out to the 23-yard line, and that's where Saskatchewan will scrimmage 1st and 10. McLaughlin looking to become the first player in pro football history to have 5 consecutive 200-point seasons. He has 184 coming into the game. Kent Austin missed the last game, bounced back last week with an impressive effort against the Hamilton Ticats. He's looking to go over 5,000 yards this season, and he's got a pretty good shot at it. 2 games remaining, today against Calgary and next week against the Toronto Argonauts. Austin for Jeff Fairholm, and Fairholm is met in the middle by Alondra Johnson and stopped at the 29-yard line. Austin has a talented group of receivers to throw to. He is working with another new running back, Darrell Wallace, who replaced Blaze Bryant. Bryant had replaced Mike Saunders. Ray Algard is going to rewrite the CFL pass receiving record book. And this offensive line has permitted just 22 quarterback sacks this season. On 2nd down, Wallace fights his way up the middle for a first down. Stop at the 34.
They come out with what they call their scatter formation. Everybody is lined up in an I formation right in the backfield, and what they try to do is jump out of there right at the snap of the ball. They can run the ball as they do inside the Wallace here, or they can throw of it. And what they do in this case, it doesn't allow Calgary to get a real good key on them and what Calgary can do defensively against Kent Austin.
1st and 10. The ball is at the 34-yard line. 11:05 remaining in the opening quarter. It's still scoreless. Austin's pass intended for Donald Narcisse, and Narcisse was covered by Alondra Johnson, among others. In the October 10th game, Harold Hasselback earned Defensive Player of the Week honors for his performance against Saskatchewan. Stu Laird is the veteran up front. Marvin Pope in the middle. Alondra Johnson and Matt Finlay to either side. And a very tough secondary with Kraft and Carl Anthony on the corners. On 2nd and 10, Austin is going to throw deep down the sidelines. Fairholm is open. There's a penalty flag on the play. It is probably a holding call to negate a big gain to Jeff Fairholm.
Calgary came with only a 3-man rush that time. Saskatchewan's got 5 guys to block them.
It looked as though Payne was the individual who was guilty of the holding call. Dave Ewell is the referee today. Don Matthews has missed the last 2 games, and he's quite happy to be back on the sidelines. He had a tough time, that emergency appendectomy operation in Calgary. That occurred on October 10th, the day these 2 teams met for the first time this season at McMahon Stadium. Over the head of B.K. Williams, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are forced to send out the punting unit. But how costly that holding infraction was as it wiped out a big gain, Austin to Fairholm.
Well, I think from a positive point of view is that the play was there, the completion was made. Now it's a matter of executing offensively as far as the offensive linemen getting better blocks, but they know that the suspect of the Calgary defense, particularly their secondary, may be there, and hopefully Ken Austin can take advantage of that later on.
Matic stands at his own 10-yard line. That pass from Austin to Fairholm was good for a 30-yard gain, wiped out, of course, by the holding infraction. Matic with a good kick. It's taken by Crawford back at the 35-yard line, and Crawford is down at the 40. 9:52 remaining in the opening quarter. A 51-yard punt by Matic.
Welcome back to Taylor Field. Well, this was the scene yesterday as CFL Commissioner Larry Smith met with members of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, a sort of town hall session in which the players sought answers to questions about expansion, Canadian content, marketing, and the controversial 4-team playoff, which has been introduced this year in the West Division. Larry joins us on the sidelines now. Larry, there was some concern from players yesterday about playing that playoff game for $1,300, which is below minimum wage, and they feel that by agreeing to that, it will set a bad precedent.
Well, Mark, we told the players that this is a one-year deal. We're trying it. We've made a significant change in the last year, and we have to keep moving forward with it.
The other thing, Larry, that the players wanted answers to was the divisions, and there will be 10 teams next year with the addition of Las Vegas. Clearly, you can't have 4 in the East and 6 in the West. How will you realign the CFL?
Well, Mark, we're working on various models right now. Some people have talked about a Northern and Southern division. Others have said, let's move one of the teams to the East. I'm looking forward to the solution which we'll have after this season ends.
Mason-Dixon, Upper Lower Canada,
who knows? You came up with a good one yesterday. Under the 49th parallel.
Thanks for your time, Larry.
Thank you.
Don?
Now, Saskatchewan in the East just wouldn't sound right, would it? Penalty flag on the play as Sapunjas makes the catch. And it looks as though holding will wipe out this Calgary gain, and another reception for Dave Sapunjas. Carlton Lance was in on the tackle. Sorry, Dan.
Sometimes that may be the only way that you can block Gerald Bayless is to hold him, but he really demands so much respect inside. The great thing about the Saskatchewan defense is the fact that Gerald Bayless has to get double teamed most of the time. That gets one-on-one blocks to everybody else, and they feel their defense, Bobby Juris and Stuart Hill, those guys can defeat a one-on-one block.
Yes, Gerald Bayless finds that in most games he is double teamed, and for very good reason, because he has been a terror defensively this year. It was intended for Crawford, incomplete. So the Saskatchewan defense has done its job as Charles Anthony was over defending against Crawford with 8:45 remaining in the opening quarter.
If you're going to try to keep Doug Flutie in any kind of situation, 2nd and 14, 2nd and 15 is a great way to try to keep him for the remainder of the game. If you give him that 2nd and 3 or 4, that really does open his play selection book up.
Tony Martino stands at the 21-yard line. Martino made a very key play. This one came very close to being blocked. He just got it away. Darrell Wallace goes back after it at the 21. Penalty flag, almost certainly a no yards call against Calgary. Benson Donaldson came very close to blocking the punt by Martino. I was going to say Martino had a very key play in the October 10th meeting where on a third down gamble he lined up in punt formation but ran 13 yards for a first down.
They're good. You get a good look on the other side of the field from the reverse angle. Just sails right out in front of it. Martino does a good job of play acting there, trying to draw the penalty. But later on down the way, there is a no yards penalty against Kenton Leonard.
That takes the ball to the 26-yard line. Donaldson just missing the block point on that third down punt by Martino. First and 10 Saskatchewan from their own 26-yard line. Austin throws to the sidelines to B.K. Williams, and he's wrapped up immediately by Carl Anthony and throwing back, but his forward progress will be marked between the 31 and the 32-yard line.
BK comes out and just tries to create some separation between Anthony and then comes back to the quick hitch. Ken Austin has that great strong arm that he has the ability to throw that quick hitch or to throw the deep out. It really doesn't scare him at all. And he gets the ability, and that can pick up some big yardage for the Saskatchewan offense.
Scatter formation for Saskatchewan. Hand off to Wallace, and Wallace is hit and driven back by Johnson. Eric Johnson made contact with him right at the line of scrimmage.
Tempers are going to flare early in this game because this is a heated battle. There's no doubt about it. This is a playoff situation. Here again, you can see the I formation lined up right behind Kent Austin. Scatter, they call it. Now they come back with the counter trap inside. But great speed and great reading by Johnson, able to get off the block and then make that tackle behind the line of scrimmage.
Brent Matic stands at his 12-yard line or 17-yard line for this third down kick, and this is another beauty. Wiggins is downed almost immediately, but there will be a no yards call against Saskatchewan with 7:05 remaining in the quarter.
There has been goodwill between these two coaches in recent weeks. When Don Matthews was in hospital for emergency surgery last week, the Stampeders' Wally Buono sent him flowers. That followed a donation by Don Matthews to the Kenton Leonard Fund to help in the wake of the death of his wife. Wally Buono was quoted after that as saying, "He sent me a personal check without making a big deal. I respect that. It shows me something about him as a person." On the field, though, no compassion. Wally Buono was 7-3 head-to-head with Don Matthews.
Yes, Wally Buono has definitely had the edge over the years in games against Matthews. This one is intercepted. Albert Brown picked it off as Flutie was under pressure and threw it up, and it is picked off by Saskatchewan.
Big play that was caused primarily by that Saskatchewan defensive front. Gary Lewis had a lot of heat up front, and these are the kind of things that Don Matthews talked about, getting pressure on the quarterback, and then that when you get that pressure, you force him to throw the ball, and when he throws it up to grabs like that, then a guy like Brown has a chance to come up with a big play. And when you have a chance to make a play, this is one of the guys that'll make it for you, Brown.
Well, Albert Brown has done a lot of good things this year for Saskatchewan. Kent Austin out of the shotgun, throwing to the sidelines. Don Narcisse keeps his string intact, 107 consecutive games, catching at least one pass.
Narco with great feet, and he runs great routes. Just a double hitch and go there, comes back. Ken Austin has plenty of time to stand in and throw the ball, and he really didn't have a lot of balance on that, but he showed the arm strength of being able to get that ball 9 yards down the field.
Narcisse needs 63 yards entering the game to become a 1,000-yard receiver for a 5th consecutive year. No CFL receiver has ever done that. Second and about 1.5 yards, Stu Laird was in on the stop on Darrell Wallace.
Looks like it's going to be short. They're calling for a measurement, and I'm sure that Saskatchewan will go for this as if it's anywhere close.
It does appear as though it's short in viewing it from up here. As I mentioned at the start, Kent Austin missed the last meeting of these clubs on October 10th. Well, can I borrow your glasses?
May need my glasses too. I I don't own any, but I'm going to have to go buy some, that's for sure.
It looked initially when they spotted it as though it may have been short. From the shotgun deep for Wallace. He's got it. The matchup that a quarterback looks for when he has a receiver against the linebacker deep.
They felt that Wallace, the one thing that he had coming in was CFL experience. He understood the game, and also that the good thing about it, not only could he carry the mail, but he was an excellent pass receiver, and they did get the matchup they wanted. Wallace against Matt Finley, and then in this case, all he does is lob it up. It's a 36-yard gain, a big play for Saskatchewan that they needed after a turnover by their good defense.
Wallace did a good job in twisting and turning to get in position to make the reception. Scott Hendrickson, an injured Saskatchewan player. The Riders, when they get in the scoring zone, have been deadly in recent games, although they had problems when they were in position to score against Calgary on October the 10th, but it was Warren Jones, a relatively inexperienced quarterback, at the controls rather than the veteran Kent Austin.
Two very different style quarterbacks also, and then you're gaining the knowledge of a guy like Kent Austin when he's pulling the trigger behind you.
Austin for Ray Elgard. Elgard stays on his feet, fights to the 1-yard line. That should be a first down. Stu Laird and Alondra Johnson made the tackle on Ray Elgard, coming into the game needing 137 yards to move past Brian Kelly as the CFL's all-time career yardage leader.
Ray Elgard, or nicknamed Harley, he'll come across the middle and he'll battle with you all the way. And a guy like Kent Leonard, when you come across to make a tackle, you just can't hit him with a shoulder. You got to wrap up and pray for help and pray and help and get other people in there to get you, make that tackle.
Kent Austin keeps, and Kent Austin gets the touchdown as the Saskatchewan Roughriders draw first blood. Two big plays, though. Kent Austin to Darrell Wallace, and then Austin to Ray Elgard as the Riders capitalize quickly on the interception by Albert Brown.
This is the kind of thing that you need to do. It really builds a lot of confidence in your team on both sides of the ball. The defense has been successful in getting pressure against Doug Flutie. If they can make him throw the ball up like that, come away with a big turnover, and then you give it into the hands of that guy right there and let him go down and get 6 points on the board for you.
David Ridgway adds the point after, and with 4:04 remaining in the opening quarter, the Roughriders are in a 7-0 lead, and Kent Austin has reason to smile.
Just here, he's just going to line up behind the big Mike Anderson and just make a play. Of the quarterback sneak, gets it across. This is a playoff game for these guys. After Edmonton had won last night, they know they have to win this game to stay in that race for a possible finish of second place. Everybody, when you get into the playoffs, want a home field advantage somehow.
Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, if the new playoff format stays in effect, and if they finish in second place, could have home field advantage for a playoff encounter against either Edmonton or BC. But the BC Lions are in action tomorrow afternoon against the Hamilton Ticats, so there is the possibility that there could still be a three-way tie for second place with only 2 weeks remaining in the season. Crawford waits for it at the 25-yard line. Crawford is met head-on. Excellent downfield tackle by the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Benson Donaldson is the man who made contact with him, and Donaldson may be hurt on the play. Crawford was also slow in getting up after the 6-yard return.
We're going to take a look at this now. Just watch right at the last minute. Bang, there's Donaldson. He's got his head down, though. And when he's going to make that tackle with your head down, it jars everything all the way down. Your spine almost comes compressed going down, and there's where you get some serious neck injuries. Hopefully that's not the case in this.
4:01 is the time remaining in the opening quarter. We'll be back after this. Well, the good news for the Saskatchewan Roughriders is that Benson Donaldson is up and walking off, the Michigan State product, with a big hit on Crawford on the kickoff return.
They always talk about this old saying in football about bowing your neck. That means getting your neck down in and getting your eyes up where you can see. And then when you're going to hit with the top of your head, you're hitting right into your forehead, not the top of your head.
Flutie looking for Andy McVeigh over his head. It will be 2nd and 10. Carlton Lance replacing Benson Donaldson, as he must stay out a minimum 3 plays.
Every series, there's been one play where the Saskatchewan defense has been right up in Doug Flutie's face, and he's been throwing the ball kind of as he throws, he ducks away to avoid getting hit up in the head. Now he knows that defense is up in his face. He looks a little tentative in his throws. They're not as crisp as we've seen Doug Flutie throw the ball before.
Flutie going to the sidelines for Pee Wee Smith. He makes the catch at the 40, loses the ball, and it's recovered by Mike Middleton. But I think the whistle had gone, and that's the ruling.
The ref stayed right there, marked his spot. It'll make it about 1/3 and a yard and a half. But you see, as they're battling, there's Wilburn fighting for the ball. The ball comes loose. That had to be a pretty quick whistle, because the ball certainly wasn't down at that point in time. I think the ref just blew a very quick whistle there.
And the Calgary Stampeders are happy he did. Now Martino came very close to having a previous kick blocked by Benson Donaldson. Donaldson is still on the bench. And Martino gets a big kick away. Wallace waits for it at the 25-yard line. And Wallace is upset as he gets to the 37. Tackled by Pee Wee Smith. 2:46 remains in the opening quarter.
Taylor Field in Regina basking in the glorious sunshine. 17 degrees here in the prairies. And an update on the Saskatchewan Roughrider injury situation. Scott Hendrickson is back in the game after bruising his left knee on a cut block. And Benson Donaldson, who left the game a few plays ago, will be returning as well. He was stunned after taking a shot in the head, but not enough to keep him out of this ball game. Don?
Well, the Riders are quite happy to have both players back in the lineup because they are key members offensively and defensively. Kent Austin throwing for Williams. He's got it. Loses the football. Calgary claims they've recovered, but Saskatchewan got it back. Calgary thought they had recovered, but Bruce Boyko was downfield. A 60-yard gain. Austin to B.K. Williams.
Wide open in the slot, straight seam route. Ken Austin has plenty of time to throw the ball and delivers. There's got to be some kind of error in the Calgary secondary. But Carl Anthony does an excellent job of coming over, stripping the ball, and then it's just a hot potato laying around on the ground. And Boyko is the man that comes in and saves the day for the Saskatchewan offense and keeps this drive alive.
60 yards the gain from the shotgun. Austin for Fairholm. Touchdown! Catch by Jeff Fairholm down at the goal line, 27 yards, and how quickly Kent Austin can strike.
Jeff Fairholm, son of Larry Fairholm, comes in there, just does an excellent job. They come back, they run the same identical route to the other side. Fairholm's on the scene this time and just takes an incredible shot from Greg Knox to safety, holds on with great concentration, ends up in a big major score.
1:35 remaining in the opening quarter. Ridgway adds the point after, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are out in front, 14-0.
We take a good look. Ken Austin's looking to his right, but then he comes back because he wants to look the safety off. But Kenton Leonard is also the guy that comes over, takes the shot up around Jeff Fairholm's head, but just excellent concentration by this receiver and gets it in.
Fairholm has had some big pass reception days in the CFL. Last year against the Toronto Argonauts, he had 244 yards on 6 receptions and scored a couple of touchdowns. It's a nice situation for a quarterback like Kent Austin to have two outstanding slot backs, Fairholm and Elgard, to throw to.
Well, it certainly is, but that Fairholm and Elgard will be first to tell you that when they got guys like B.K. Williams and Narcisse on the outside, is a sense that it makes their job just a little easier.
Wiggins on the kickoff return for Calgary. Managed to stay in bounds until being forced out by Miller up around the 49-yard line. There's also a flag on the play at the point of the kickoff. It could be an offside call against Saskatchewan.
Could be, and then if it is, with a good return, Calgary should decline it.
Offside on the kickoff. Saskatchewan number 22. Penalties declined. First down.
Chris Munford was offside. 1:25 remaining in the opening quarter. Don Matthews yesterday told us he felt his team was capable of executing some big plays against Calgary, and in this opening quarter, indeed, they have. Flutie gives to Tony Stewart inside, and he'll pick up about 4 yards before being brought down by Bobby Jurison. You know, it's interesting. When Stewart was at Iowa, Mike Saunders, who had been Saskatchewan's leading back until he was injured this year, was Stewart's backup.
Well, that shows you there's a lot of good talent on this field in the running back thing. You can't coach, you can't teach somebody how to be a running back. Either you are or you're not a running back. You got the ability to see the open holes, to make the cuts, and have the quick feet and the good hands it takes.
Out of the shotgun on second down, over the middle, and wide open is Wiggins for a first down at the 35. A 23-yard gain. Flutie to Brian Wiggins with 25 seconds remaining in the opening quarter.
Both of these defenses are going to have to try to play about the same kind of situation where they have to disrupt the timing of the quarterbacks. And that one of the keys to taking the disrupting the timing is jamming these receivers on the line of scrimmage so they can't get off so freely. We've seen receivers on both sides of the ball just getting off the line of scrimmage, running straight down the seams without any conflict,
Inside toss to Sapunjas, and Sapunjas has another first down to the 24-yard line. Ray Bernard made the tackle, but Calgary is in scoring position on the final play of the opening quarter. Last week, Dave Sapunjas scored 2 touchdowns and had a big game against the Argos as Calgary won 51-7. He has 2 catches so far this afternoon.
Just a hit screen underneath to him. You can see number 60. That's big Bruce Covington, the left tackle, getting out there in front. It's a delayed pattern. They try to get the blocking, dump it to him early, and then let him work with the ball.
Sapunjas had some fun last week in Toronto. During the offseason, he worked as a sports reporter for CFTO, and he interviewed himself last week in a special feature for the station. Also did an interview with Doug Flutie.
And he didn't like the questions the guy asked him.
Yeah, he said they were tough to answer.
Yeah, he said, come on, don't be a jerk. Don't ask me stupid questions like that.
Flutie from the shotgun. Flutie throwing deep for Crawford. He can't catch up with it. He got Carlton Lance turned around, but Flutie overthrew him. Wally Buono showing some concern on the sidelines. Buono had an interesting comment yesterday. He was asked if Calgary is the most disliked team in the CFL. He says, I hope the word isn't disliked. He says, I hope the folks have a lot of respect for us.
And talking of respect, and here you can see Doug Flutie. It's Gerald Bayless and Stuart Hill, or that's Gary Lewis. Everybody's getting him through there and defeating the blocks, getting up in Doug Flutie's face and forcing him to throw the ball off balance.
Throwing off balance over the middle, and the catch is made for a big first down by Will Moore, taking it to the 2-yard line. Flutie has only been sacked 20 times this year, but when pressure is put on, he seems to fall away from it and get the throw away.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. As the quarterback stand in the pocket, and if they plant that right foot and leaning forward, those defensive linemen coming in, there's a great opportunity for a collision there, and Flutie may get the worst of that. But he's got an unbelievable knack of being able to deliver the ball as he's going with the punch and falling away, and he delivers it on the money.
First and goal. Andy McVeigh. Gary Lewis, no, Blair Zur, the ball carrier. Pardon me, not Andy McVeigh. And he was stopped at the 1-yard line. Zur into the ball game in place of Andy McVeigh.
Just a counter with the G block as that's Rocco Romano just pulling and trying to kick out Bobby Jurison. They're having nothing to do with it. It's a very slow developing play. This is a very fast Saskatchewan defense.
2nd and goal from the 1. Flutie fakes, looking for someone in the end zone, may try and run it in himself. He's in trouble. He goes down at the 6-yard line. Maurice Crum and Benson Donaldson closed off a path to the end zone and dropped Flutie back at the 6.
Give it as a coverage sack because the Saskatchewan defense in their secondary did an excellent job of everybody staying with their man, locking up and not giving Doug Flutie anybody to throw to. He wants to fake the counter inside and then comes out on a naked bootleg all by himself. He's looking downfield, couldn't find anything, and finally Benson Donaldson comes up to put him on the turf after.
Mark McLaughlin with his 2nd field goal attempt of the game. A penalty flag on the play. McLaughlin's kick is good. We'll sort out the penalty when we return. Mark McLaughlin had kicked what appeared to be a 12-yard field goal, but Saskatchewan was offside.
Take a look. This is Benson Donaldson's hand right there, and then all of a sudden, see the line of scrimmage of where he is. You can tell that he's offside. It's a mental mistake, and it's a big mental mistake. Very costly because it gives Calgary a 1st down. They retain possession, and it could be a very good scoring opportunity.
Don Matthews was very upset because he was quite willing to concede the 3 points, but now the Calgary Stampeders are in position to score a touchdown. They are 1st and goal from the 2.5. A costly penalty for Benson Donaldson, and it appeared, as Dan pointed out, that he lined up offside. You don't want to give Doug Flutie many opportunities to put it in the end zone from this close. He gives to Andy McVeigh. He's hit hard. There's a penalty flag on the play. Andy McVeigh was nailed right at the line of scrimmage.
There's no infraction on the play. It's 2nd down.
Well, I saw a flag, but there was no infraction. Andy McVeigh out of the University of Toronto hit hard right at the line of scrimmage as Ray Bernard punished him. .12 remaining in the half. 2nd and goal, Calgary. Flutie, quarterback sneak. He is not going to get there. Steve Taylor was in at quarterback.
They make the one change. They try to get the bigger, stronger quarterback in there with his leg strength to power through behind Rocco Romano and Bruce Covington, and that Saskatchewan defense is tenacious. They were having nothing to do with it. Taylor comes back. It's almost like a quarterback draw. Delayed, then he's trying to find an opening to go. Saskatchewan's having nothing to do with it, not giving him any opening, and then closes down very quickly. What a momentum builder for the Saskatchewan team, and particularly this defense.
Well, Wally Buono said he would give Taylor an opportunity to play in key situations. This is certainly one of them. Penalty flag on the play. Taylor did not get in. Calgary apparently had too many men on the field, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders have held them.
Even with 13 guys, they can't get in the end zone here.
Too many men. Calgary, penalties declined. 1st down.
Well, in looking back, being offside on that field goal by Mark McLaughlin might have been the best thing that happened to Saskatchewan, because Calgary did not score, and they wind up not getting any points. And Saskatchewan will take over at the 1. Austin from the shotgun in the end zone, throwing deep over the middle for Fairholm, and Fairholm knocked down, and the ball is intercepted. Vaughn comes up with the interception as the ball was deflected off the hands of Fairholm, And Vaughn takes over at the 43-yard line. Actually, I think Gerald Vaughn picked the ball off the body of one of his teammates as it was deflected into the air.
Little jam inside by Gerald Vaughn, but there's the guy that makes the play. Greg Knox comes off and just levels Fairholmes, knocks the ball loose, and then it's a little bit of the tip drill. Carl Anthony comes up, tips it back in, and Gerald Vaughn's doing an excellent job of trailing on the play.
Flutie back in at quarterback. The hitch screen to Brian Wiggins, and Wiggins is stopped as he gets to the 34 by Stu Hill. 10:24 remaining in the first half. 14-0 Saskatchewan leads Calgary.
Stu Hill on the play here, just showing some of his great athletic ability, getting off the block and then pursuing down the line of scrimmage and being able to make the tackle on that hitch screen.
2nd and 5, Calgary. Flutie operates from the shotgun. 3 receivers to the left. Flutie swings it out to Andy McVeigh, and McVeigh is going to get a first down to the Saskatchewan 27, tackled there by Carlton Lance.
And credit that all to Andy McVeigh. All he did, that sheer power and strength that got the first down. Doug Flutie's trying to throw the ball downfield. He can't find anybody. Great coverage in the Saskatchewan secondary. Dumps it off as a safety valve to Andy. And then what they do is again, they play the zone behind it. Now you react up to this play. Now when you react up, you got to come up and make a tackle. But you're trying to tackle that big horse up around the chest, and he picks up the first down.
This time Flutie sends 3 receivers wide to the right. Flutie trying to dump it off again to the man on the left side, Will Moore, but he was being covered by Albert Brown. Brown has returned a punt for a touchdown this year, a kickoff for a touchdown, and an interception for a touchdown. He was saying he'd like to go for the circuit by returning a fumble for a touchdown.
Excellent addition here that plays in this secondary, really solidifies the experience that are back there. And when you're out there on the island, there's nobody that plays that corner any better than Albert Brown.
4 receivers right this time for Calgary. All sorts of movement at the line of scrimmage.
Gary Lewis and Bobby Durson both moving at the same time, and the first thing you do is that defensive lineman. You turn around and you point to one of those offensive guys. Hopefully you can sway the decision somewhere.
Well, Dave Ewell wasn't fooled.
Offside. Saskatchewan numbers 71 and 79. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
He caught both of them, Jurison and Lewis, and you see the movement, as Dan pointed out, prematurely. But they do point at the offensive lineman, trying to claim that they were drawn offside by an illegal procedure call. Second and 5. Flutie dumping it off to Andy McVeigh. Benson Donaldson is claiming that he was hit from behind by Pee Wee Smith and that there should have been a clipping call in the play, but there is no flag, and Andy McVeigh should have the first down. It will be very close.
It's the identical play that Doug Flutie had to dump it off to Andy McVeigh going to the left the last time. Now he's looking downfield. He wants to throw the ball, and then he dumps it off to the right. And as you said, I think Vincent Donaldson had a fairly justifiable argument there.
It is 3rd and 1 as they spotted the ball about a yard short, but Flutie will not only get the first down, he's trying to get to the end zone, and he does. Well, when you have a quarterback with the athletic ability of a Doug Flutie in almost any position on the field, you're capable of scoring with either a pass or the running skills of Flutie.
They're thinking, obviously, that he's just going to go for the quarterback sneak. Everything is pinched inside. The defensive linemen take a gap, and they go to the inside. Doug senses that's able to jump outside, and then he does it all on his own. Great quick feet, unbelievable vision as far as not being able to get hit directly.
Mark McLaughlin adds the point after, and it's now a 7-point game with 7:37 in the half.
Gets a block and will score. Look at this. This ball's going to go.
You know the option play. That's when the quarterback could pass or run. That's what school's all about.
Keep your options open.
So go for it. Stay in school. It's the best option play of all.
For a free brochure that might help, call 1-800-461-2525.
Well, if you give Doug Flutie enough opportunities, he'll eventually put it in the end zone, even if he has to do it all himself.
This defense has done an excellent job of not giving him that many opportunities, but as you said, Whit, you keep putting the ball back into his hands, sooner or later this guy has the ability to make something big happen, and he does it right here, putting it in for a big major.
A quarterback draw with Flutie scoring an 18-yard touchdown for Calgary. In the first game of the season, he had a similar play against Winnipeg for about 50 yards for a touchdown. Wallace on the return brings it back to the 32-yard line. Mark?
Well, Don, we mix our seasons on the CBC today following the football game. Tonight at 8 Eastern, it's hockey night in Canada. The Anaheim Mighty Ducks making their first trip to the Forum in Montreal. And the streaking Maple Leafs are in Tampa Bay. They're 8-0 to start the season. One more win sets a new NHL record. Don?
Well, the Leafs got a scare in Tampa Bay. They had to go into overtime before Pearson scored the winning goal to keep that streak intact. And Anaheim with a big win at Madison Square Garden in New York this past week. Bruce Boyko takes the pass. Boyko trying to get to the outside, but Alondra Johnson wraps him up and throws him out of bounds. The Boyko's brother's father had an interesting comment. Bruce, of course, with Saskatchewan, Allen with Winnipeg. Someone asked what he does when Saskatchewan plays Winnipeg, who he cheers for. He said, whichever team is playing at home.
That's just diplomatic.
At one time, both of the Boyko boys were with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. From the shotgun, on second down, Austin got away from the initial pressure, dumps it off to Fairholm, and Fairholm gets to the outside and takes it all the way to the Calgary 48. A 28-yard gain for Jeff Fairholm, caught from behind by Eric Johnson.
Austin does a lot of times. He breaks outside of the containment of Will Johnson, and then those receivers know, just start working, get open somehow, find an open area. And Ken Austin does an excellent job of leading Fairholm back toward the middle, away from the defender, allowing him to make the reception. And then this guy's got some great speed. As you can see him, he's kind of clutching his hip or in his back area. He did have some back problems in the early part of this season.
Fairholm is coming out of the ball game. Dan Farthing will go into the ball game for Saskatchewan. Dan Farthing, number 10. This is convocation day for his graduating class at the University of Saskatchewan. Obviously, he can't be there. Wallace on a draw picks up about 4 yards. Hasselback and Stu Laird combined to bring him down. Even though Wallace hasn't played much in the last year and a half, Coach Matthews has great confidence in his abilities.
Well, this Calgary defense is pretty smart about this. The reason that Wallace is standing back there when they run the draw play, every other play he's splitting, he's going out in a pass play, but he's standing back there for a reason. And when they hand the draw off to him, they just react back inside to it.
B.K. Williams on the sidelines, knocked out of bounds at the 37-yard line. That should be very close to a first down. And it is.
The ball hangs up quite a bit, and BK has to go up high to get it in, and then does an excellent job. Now, it looked like his left foot hit the ground first before the right foot behind it did. Could have been called out, but they give it to Saskatchewan and to pick up a first down.
5:03 remaining in the second quarter. Ray Algard with the catch. Algard continues to fight his way, tosses it off to Wallace, and Wallace continues on to the 2-yard line. Dan mentioned that Algard is nicknamed Harley, and when you see him battle defenders at times, you understand why he is nicknamed Harley. But what an alert play when he realized that he was wrapped up to lateral it off to Darrell Wallace.
The reason that read is there is that Alondra Johnson and Pope, the middle linebackers, both come, and the read is for the inside slots to jump, replace the blitzing linebacker, and then he's been watching. Elgard's been around long enough. He probably saw some of those old rugby films of how this CFL league first got started.
Well, Elgard is a former rugby player. From the scatter formation, Wallace hit hard by Alondra Johnson at the 5-yard line. He'll lose 3 yards in the play. They didn't fool Alondra Johnson with that scatter formation.
You're not going to fool a lot of people with this thing here, and this is a very slow developing play. And when it's a counter trap coming back, you're going right into the teeth of this Calgary defense. That is their speed and their aggressiveness when they're pursuing. And that guy right there, AJ, does it well when he pursues.
Fairholm back into the ball game. Into the end zone for Fairholm, knocked away at the last moment by Ken Watson. And there's also a penalty flag in the end zone. Penalty call is going against Calgary.
Illegal contact on an eligible receiver. Calgary number 38. Half the distance to the goal line. First down.
This is where you are. You're in a battle every time that you try to line up against Elgard. You try to find any way you can to stop him. You jam him. They get into contact there with Gerald Vaughn. Vaughn gets called on the penalty.
So Saskatchewan is first and goal from the 2.5. Again, out of the scatter formation, this time to Wallace. Wallace tried to go over the top, and he's stopped by Alondra Johnson. And now a penalty flag after the whistle had gone. Donald Narcisse involved with a member of the Stampeders doing some pushing and shoving. It's a face mask call against Calgary. That will take the ball to the 1-yard line. It will be first and goal.
Major foul. Face mask. Calgary number 38. First down.
This has been a rough series for Gerald Vaughn. A pass interference call on Ray Elgard, and now a face mask call on Donald Narcisse. And Saskatchewan has 3 cracks from the 1. Austin will keep. Touchdown. His second touchdown of the season. With 3:21 remaining in the half.
Calgary this time was repaying Saskatchewan back for some costly penalties down in the red zone that kept them and gave them the opportunity to keep the possession of the ball and get the ball in the end zone. Calgary was not successful, but in this case, Saskatchewan made the best of it. And Ken Austin themselves, after handing off a number of times, not getting success with his running back Wallace, then decided to take it on his own shoulders and get it in the end zone.
Well, the Calgary Stampeders were able to take advantage of penalties and score, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders now take advantage of some penalties and put it in the end zone with 3:06 left in the half. Advantage on a beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon, and Kent Austin capped the Saskatchewan scoring drive with his second touchdown of the year on a 1-yard run. The big play, a pass to Jeff Fairholm, and then another to Ray Elgard. Pee Wee Smith waits for the ball at the 17-yard line, and Benson Donaldson was downfield once again to make the tackle, and Donaldson once again is very slow in getting up. Benson Donaldson remains down. He was hurt earlier in making a tackle on a 3rd down punt. He didn't have the same type of contact this time, Dan, with the punt returner, Pee Wee Smith, but it appeared as though he may have got tangled up and then banged his head onto the turf.
Well, I think that's exactly what it is. When he came by, he threw the left hand out because he comes down. He's just absolutely reckless abandon, and he has no respect for his body when he's in there, as the good specialty team players do. And he threw the left hand out to make the tackle. But as he did, he left himself vulnerable. That the first thing that hit when he came on the turf was was right at the forehead, and he got a shot right on the head. Now this turf is very, very hard. It's softer than a lot of. You can't see it because actually the camera stays with the ball carrier as it goes by, but his head does hit very hard on the turf, and hopefully that's only it, that he's just you know, got his bell rung a bit, and nothing more serious than that. He's up walking, which is at least a good sign.
Well, of course, the initial concern is always the possibility of a neck injury, but they very carefully examined him before sending the golf cart out to get him up and take him off to the dressing room. Mark?
Well, Don, coming up on Live at the Half, Just Win, baby. A feature report on Don Matthews. He's one of the CFL's most successful head coaches. He's a risk taker on the field, a sparring partner with the media, and one of the boys in the locker room. We'll have Don Matthews live at the half. Don?
Look forward to that feature as Vincent Donaldson heads off to the dressing room. You had the opportunity to play under Coach Matthews for a number of years in Edmonton, Dan.
Well, I certainly did, and I guess I had the opportunity to stay in this league a lot longer than maybe I should have, because Don Matthews put me in good positions most of the time.
On the snap, the ball comes loose. Saskatchewan appears to have it. Bobby Jurison.
Talking about Matthews, the one thing that he brings to the ballpark and brings to the stadium every day is a tenacious attitude about playing defense. Guys that have respect and pride in the way that they could go out there and the way that they do their job. And that's a guy right there who brings it 150% every day to the office. And Bobby Jurison, they take advantage of things, they make things happen, and when they have an opportunity to make the big plays, these guys make them.
Well, Saskatchewan with an opportunity to really take control of the football game. The pass over the middle to Elgard. Stopped at the 1-yard line.
The one thing that Coach Matthews has been very, very pleased with through the course of this whole season has been that offensive line. The Hendrickson brothers up front, Mike Anderson at the center, Paul Vida at the right guard, and Dan Payne at the right tackle. These guys were young. They finally got in together, and then they've had an opportunity to really gel and be very successful.
Scatter formation. First and goal. Austin keeps his second touchdown of the game. .2:16 remaining in the half as the Riders are putting it to the Calgary Stampeders.
Second time in this course of the game that the Saskatchewan defense has come up with a big turnover. The first time was an interception, this time with the fumble recovery, and in both cases, that man right there has turned it into points on the board. Good look at the reverse angle. You see the surge, just the takeoff by that offensive line, being able to get underneath the blocks and the tackles of the Calgary defenders, able to push them back and allow Ken Austin to get across for the major.
Third touchdown of the day for Kent Austin. 2:16 remaining in the half.
Well,
do we know that guy?
yeah, I think we do, Whit.
A good crowd. They expected maybe better than 25,000 for this final home game of the season. The Riders wind up regular season play next weekend in Toronto. They have a bye on the final weekend, and Don Matthews was saying that he had mixed feelings about it. Players will get an opportunity to rest some nicks going into the playoffs, but he wouldn't mind playing into the final weekend of the season if he were given a guarantee that everybody would come out of it healthy. Crawford on the kickoff return, trying to get to the outside, and is forced out of bounds by Peter Miller up at the 42-yard line. A 20-yard return after a 58-yard kickoff. Penalty flags on the play. Two Calgary players collided on the sidelines as the kick returner was run out of bounds. And then some pushing and shoving started.
There's where all the jawing start plays. There's nothing, I think, that really happened on the field that dictated that a penalty be called. But it's what happened, the extracurricular activity after it got out of bounds, to take a look at it. Let's go down to Mark.
Unnecessary roughness.
Well, Don, I just finished talking with Saskatchewan team doctor, Dr. Ron Aylesby. They have taken Vincent Donaldson to the locker room. He apparently has a concussion. That's 2 head blows in the first half. We may not see him in the second half. In his place right now, you see him, number 9, Carlton Lance, is in the Saskatchewan lineup. Don?
Carlton Lance, who is the designated import for the game, will now get an opportunity to play at an inside halfback position on a regular basis with Donaldson out of the game. First and 10 Calgary from the shotgun at the 39-yard line. Over the head of Pee Wee Smith, it will be second and 10 with 2:04 remaining in the half.
When you're standing in the pocket on the near hash mark as near to the press box and you're trying to throw the wide side out, you really need to be able to plant yourself, get your momentum going, and being able to throw the ball so that you got some zip on it. Doug Flutie, again, he's getting the pressure right up front. Gary Lewis was in his face that time, having to throw off balance, and he doesn't have the zip to throw the ball on the money that far to the wide side.
Flutie sends 3 receivers to both sides of the field. Again, over the head of Pee Wee Smith. 2 in a row, Flutie throwing in Smith's direction, and on both occasions, he has overthrown him.
It's a good call, and it's a good play to have because it's the wide side of the field. Saskatchewan's playing the zone. The halfback's out underneath, and the corner's up over top, so you've got enough room out there to try to hit your receiver. You just got to be accurate enough to get the ball. Doug trying to overcompensate a bit for the last throw, and again, he lets this ball sail on him somewhat.
Dan Farthing takes the 3rd down punt of Tony Martino at the 47-yard line. And that's where Saskatchewan will scrimmage 1st and 10. Mark Dubé, the injured Calgary player.
Stampeder on the play.
Dubé appears to be in a fair bit of pain.
They're taking a look up again. That's Pat Clayton, the athletic therapist of Calgary, and they're taking a look at his face, and I think that he may have just come in like he got an eye or a finger in the eye, because they're taking a look up in his helmet. It doesn't look like anything like a knee or a shoulder.
Canadian Toy Testing Council when you purchase CFL Collector's Cup and Score at your local...
Dubé primarily working on special teams for the Calgary Stampeders. Athletic therapist Pat Clayton talking to him. And he is up and able to head off to the Calgary bench. Well, his vision appears to
Eyes
be
look
okay as he heads off.
Sure does. You don't see him grabbing anything in the eye or trying to blink one of the eyes. So it could have been just one of those burners that we've talked about a number of times through the course of the season.
B.K. Williams on the sidelines, out of bounds with a 1st down, or at least very close to it, at the 53. And it is a 1st down, signals referee Dave Ewell. Well, Austin is certainly picking apart that Calgary secondary so far today.
That's the advantage when you have 4 guys of the caliber of receiving core that Saskatchewan has, because it's very hard to figure out who the world you're going to concentrate on and double, because that constitutes that somebody out there is getting single coverage. And when you got this guy pulling the string for you, he does a great job of just stringing it out straight as you can be.
Elgard again. Elgard breaks the tackle. He continues on, and there's also a penalty flag downfield in the vicinity of the 25-yard line.
There's contact in the secondary, Whit, and I don't know whether it's going to go against Saskatchewan or if they're going to call it again. There it is. They did call it against Calgary. There was some contact in the secondary.
Forward pass interference. Calgary number 38. Penalties declined. 1st down.
27 yards for Ray Elgard.
3 very crucial penalties against Gerald Vaughn in the past 5 minutes that have allowed Saskatchewan first to score, and in this time to keep a drive very much alive.
Elgard, 4 receptions now for 79 yards. Austin throws deep for Narcisse. He's out of bounds. He makes the catch, but he was out of bounds.
Good job. Just to stop and go, and you can see he got Douglas Kraft, the youngster, to be able to break down, and when he broke down, Narco was able to go right by him. The pass was just thrown just outside of the boundaries.
2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line. 1:16 remaining in the opening half. Austin operates from the shotgun. Over the middle for Elgar. Elgar gets inside the 10-yard line. That's his 5th catch of the day.
It doesn't really matter who it is. Elgard will go one-on-one against Gerald Vaughn. He'll go against Carl Anthony. This time he gets inside, takes a shot from Melandra Johnson, then is able to spin a rama, gets inside, and allows Ken Austin a wide-open target to throw to.
Elgard now 5 catches for 95 yards. He is only 42 yards away from breaking Brian Kelly's record. Pass complete for the touchdown to Bruce Boyko.
A very inspired Ken Austin and a very inspired Saskatchewan team, both offensively, defensively, and special teams. Right now, they are winning this ball game on all phases.
The Riders with Bruce Boyko taking it into the end zone, his 2nd touchdown catch this season, and they have really taken control in this opening half. Point after by Ridgway, and it's 35-7 Saskatchewan with 51 seconds remaining in the first half.
It's very, very hard. The Calgary team coming in here have had probably the last 5 or 6 weeks when they really haven't had any reason, any motivation to go out there. They got ahead so fast, so quickly to get the lead. They clinched first place, and now all of these other teams that they're playing against, as in Saskatchewan right now, these are playoff games. So these guys are coming out there motivated, and they're coming out inspired, and they are delivering a message here that Calgary, in a sense that if Saskatchewan has to go and play them in the playoffs, these guys are ready, and these guys can beat them when things go right.
Well, maybe Kent Austin benefited from sitting up in the press box and observing what Calgary was doing defensively in the game at McMahon Stadium on the 10th of October, because he has riddled the Calgary secondary throughout this first half. Crawford on the kickoff return from the 14-yard line, tripped up, and he stumbles his way up to the 33 with 47 seconds remaining in the opening half. David Pitcher was downfield to limit the return to 25 yards, and again more pushing and shoving. Coach Wally Buono right out on the field trying to control things, and also have a word with one of the officials, Ross Hutchinson, who is the line judge.
Big Daddy Marvin Pope, number 91, and also Albert Brown getting into it.
Unnecessary roughness. Calgary number 91. After the play, first down.
Doug Flutie earlier in the year had 5 consecutive games in which he passed for better than 400 yards. The last time he faced the Saskatchewan Roughriders, he was able to pass for just 209 yards, 18 completions in 37 attempts, 1 touchdown and 1 interception. And he isn't faring much better today. Pass over the middle to Wiggins for a first down at the 33-yard line. 43 seconds remaining in the half.
Saskatchewan very contented right now to play a deep zone, like a 4-deep coverage, make everything be thrown in front of them, then react up to it. Just do not give up the big play right now before the half.
Flutie out of the shotgun. For Stewart, incomplete. He was being covered by Wilburn.
Wilburn, since arriving in Saskatchewan by a Super Bowl champion Washington Redskins, brings a tremendous amount of experience and talent on the corner, and he goes in and he basically takes away one receiver, the guy that he's covering, so that the offensive team really is playing with 11 guys out there.
Again, Flutie from the shotgun. to the sidelines, and the catch is made by Crawford, and he steps out of bounds with a first down at the 45 with 27 seconds remaining in the half. Flutie glances back at the clock to see how much time he has to work with in trying to, if not get the ball into the end zone, at least put it in position for a Mark McLaughlin field goal attempt. Pee-wee Smith gets away from Lance, and he takes it into Saskatchewan territory at the 42-yard line. John Hufnagel, the offensive coordinator, moving up and down the sideline, signaling plays into Doug Flutie with 20 seconds remaining.
Going to the hurry-up offense. Saskatchewan doing what they wanted them to do as far as throwing the ball short. You got to be able to come up and make the tackle.
Stewart makes the catch, and Stewart battles his way to the 25 for another Calgary first down. Middleton and Suter were both there to make the tackle for Saskatchewan. 9 seconds remaining in the half. Wally Buono has called a timeout.
Two very crucial plays where missed tackles have allowed Calgary to probably pick up an additional 15 or 20 yards and get them down, either in where they got a chance to make one more play, throw it into the end zone, hopefully to come up with a big score, or in case this situation, get into Mark McLaughlin's field goal range.
The only time that Flutie and the Stampeders have been beaten this season was on September the 10th when they lost 29-16 to the Edmonton Eskimos at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton. 35-7 they trail. The clock will not start until the ball is snapped. Flutie overthrew Pee-wee Smith. 4 seconds remain in the first half, and Mark McLaughlin comes into the ball game to attempt a field goal. This will be a 32-yard try for McLaughlin. McLaughlin earlier kicked a 12-yard field goal, but because of a Saskatchewan penalty, the Stampeders took the field goal off the board and tried to put it in the end zone. They were successful on that attempt, but later got the ball back and did score. McLaughlin's field goal try is good. And on the final play of the first half, Calgary makes it a 35-10 football game. Let's go down to the sidelines now and Mark Lee.
Don Matthews heads to the locker room with his team for halftime adjustments, or more accurately to reload. They lead it 35-10 at the half. Welcome to Live at the Half. Well, he is well-traveled in this game of football, but he is anything but a journeyman head coach. I'm talking about Don Matthews. In the past decade, he has been at the helm of 3 different CFL teams in BC, Toronto, now Saskatchewan. Each time, he has made his teams better than before. And in the process, he has won the admiration of his team.
120 boys and girls.
Don Matthews is characterized as a player's coach, a descendant of the Edmonton dynasty teams of the 1970s. As a defensive coordinator under Hugh Campbell, he learned to win, and he won the loyalty of his players by letting them be free to express themselves. Within the authoritarian regime of pro football, he was different. Matthews was one of the boys, and they responded in spades, winning 5 Grey Cups in 6 years.
Pretty hard to hear down here with this noise.
Coach, you remember that time back in about the '81 Grey Cup? We were working out, and we used to go for runs every morning in training camp, and we went through the A&W restaurant.
You know, you guys were just amazing, and for Hugh Campbell to put up with your shenanigans. And you know, you guys are just before practice, it was just fun to watch because your imagination came up with something funny. It broke up practice. It made everybody look forward to the day, but the big thing you guys had is when you blew the whistle, you knew when to turn the fun off and go to work, and that's what made it all work.
And Don Matthews is
Matthews brought his winning tradition and his rapport to BC, his first head coaching job. He won the 1985 Grey Cup. During the mid-'80s, his teams finished first 3 years in a row. And in 1985, he was named the CFL's Coach of the Year. But harmony in the locker room gave way to friction in the front office, and he was fired by his general manager, Joe Galat.
That was probably the most earth-shaking experience that I've ever gone through. You know, I think that the first time that you are fired, it's a very difficult situation, and you're not prepared for it.
In 1990, Matthews was back in business at the helm of the good ship Argonaut, and he turned that team around in only one season.
I think more coaches should be like him, you know, call it like it is, treat players as individuals, you know, not as robots or pieces of meat, you know, and I think that's what he does. That's why he's had his success. That's why he's been successful everywhere he's been.
I was asked at one time by Ralph Sazian and Harry Ornest how you would feel about Don being the coach if you were to become the general manager, and I said, I can work with anybody, and I said, Don would be an excellent candidate and feel I could work with him. And I can remember telling Harry Ornest, one comment I had, I said, I think we'd have a hell of a wrestling match together if we ever got into it. So I think it worked well. We both wanted the same thing, and Don, and then Don had other reasons for leaving to go to the World League.
Indeed, after only one season, he was on the road again to the Orlando Thunder. He took with him his single-minded high demands and expectations.
Last week was a dress rehearsal. Some good, some bad, and some ugly. All right. You got through it because what? You found a way to win. Find a way to win.
Well, if we lose a football game, I become so embarrassed that I don't want to go outdoors. I don't want to go to the store to buy a loaf of bread. I just feel bad because our football team hasn't won. And then, you know, when we win a football game, we say, well, it's safe for another week. That's sort of what the theme is in our profession.
Don Matthews has always maintained football games are won or lost by players, not coaches. He may determine who plays, but he knows they determine his fate.
Certainly this time of year with the playoffs coming up, things can get pretty tense, and you don't want to get on edge. You just want to do the same things that you did all season long to get to this point, and with a coach like that, it's a lot easier to do.
The trappings of this head coach's life include a Harley Davidson. It is a symbol of his living on the edge approach to football. While he's been successful, it's been stressful.
It's a very consuming job, and you know, people who get in it and stay for a long time, it has an effect on you after a while, and certainly there are guys that burn out and don't like it anymore. I haven't got to that point, but certainly I can see that that I'm not going to be able to do this for forever.
That is the look of success of a football coach who came well prepared today with a game plan that has the Stampeders bewildered and often undisciplined.
Welcome back to Taylor Field in Regina, where the Calgary Stampeders have to stage a major comeback. And Kent Austin is going to have to be controlled, and Doug Flutie will have to get things going if the Stampeders are going to avoid their second loss of the season. Crawford on the return from the 25-yard line. Penalty flag in the play as he goes down at the 41. David Pitcher and Rasevich were in on the stop, a 16-yard return.
I think we're going to get an illegal block against Calgary. Blocking from the rear, probably.
Illegal block. Calgary number 37. 10-yard penalty. First down.
The penalty against Matt Finlay will take the ball back to the 20-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 Calgary at that point, and a concerned Wally Buono looks on. Not concerned about the position the Stampeders are in, but he certainly doesn't want to see his team blowing out as is happening right now.
I think his most concern, he's not happy with the execution of the way that this team has performed both offensively and defensively the first half.
Over the head of Wiggins, it will be 2nd and 10. It hasn't been vintage Flutie this afternoon. Wiggins has been his favorite target. He's gone to him 4 times. Sapunjas, who came into the game with 91 receptions, has 2 catches today.
keep building up to a crescendo in the sense that you want this team to get better and better every week, particularly when you're getting ready to go into a playoff mode. And this team doesn't look to be in that playoff mode right now.
From the shotgun to Will Moore at the 30-yard line. Very close to a first down. Barry Wilburn was there to bring him down. Statistically, as you might expect, with Saskatchewan leading 35-10, they dominated the statistical chart. 319 yards for Saskatchewan, 309 of them through the air. First and 10, the ball just across the 30-yard line. Flutie again operates from the shotgun. Flutie throws along the sidelines for Will Moore. He makes the catch. He had to struggle to keep his feet in bounds, but in the opinion of the official, he did that. 25-yard gain, Flutie to Moore.
Doug does an excellent job of reading the defense. Saskatchewan's running what they call a cut call. They've got the halfback Wilburn playing, the corner Wilburn playing in the short flat, and the halfbacks over top. They hit the soft spot in between.
Handoff to Andy McVeigh to the 50-yard line, a pickup of 3 yards. It will be 2nd and 7, Calgary. Gerald Bayless and Ray Bernard combined to bring McVeigh down.
Well, as much as Calgary wants to improve on their first half performances, that now with such a lead, the Saskatchewan defense can't let down, or they'll let a very capable team get back into the ball game in Calgary.
Good play by Anthony as he came over the top to knock down the Flutie pass intended for Wiggins.
And Calgary's going to go for it. It's 2nd and long in this place. But Anthony does do an excellent job. There's no contact before the play goes. His left hand comes over, knocks the ball down, creates the 3rd and long situation for Calgary.
Calgary gambling on 3rd and 7. And they succeed with Wiggins making the catch at the 38-yard line. Big 3rd down gamble for Flutie and the Stampeders, and they convert a 3rd and 7 play into a first down at the 38 of Saskatchewan. 12:23 remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Ball is at about the 38-yard line.
Flutie flushed out of the pocket by Jerson. He'll run. Albert Brown tried to prevent him from getting a first down, but it looked as though Flutie leaned forward and struggled very close to that forward marker.
Saskatchewan doing a good job again in the coverage in the back end. Everybody's covered. They stick with their men, and they force Doug Flutie to scramble out of the pocket. Once he breaks the line of scrimmage, everybody leaves their man. Albert Brown comes up, puts Flutie on the ground just short of the first down.
Well, they're going to measure to make certain. Flutie was forced out of bounds by Brown, and as you see, just shy of a first down with 12:03 remaining in the 3rd quarter. But if that last series is any indication, trailing by 25 points, the Stampeders are going to do a lot of gambling trying to get back into this football game.
Well, you come here to win the game, and that's what you got to do. This is a free play for Doug Flutie. Wait for him to go in the end zone maybe on this one.
Flutie follows the surge of the offensive line and picks up a first down. Penalty flag on the play.
It's going to be objectionable conduct against Gary Lewis.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Saskatchewan number 79. After the play, first down.
You get a good look at Gary shaking his head, a little bit of the frustration that's taking place there. He is out of the play, but it's Todd Storm. There you can see him swift. That is Ken Moore it is, and then all of a sudden gets a shot in the back of the head. You kind of lose your composure right here. You've got to think. You've got to be a smart ball player out there to play for Don Matthews.
Pass complete over the middle to Wiggins, and he'll be very close to another first down. They were scrimmaging from the 13, and Wiggins got down close to the 2. John Huffnagel, the offensive coordinator, looking on, giving that chewing gum a little extra workout under some of the tension that exists for the Stampeders this afternoon.
Listen, the attention to the fact that his offensive team didn't look anything like the offensive team that he's seen in the games past. And it's a matter of going out there and putting it together for this 30 minutes.
And Flutie does as he takes it into the end zone. His second touchdown of the afternoon. Kent Austin of the Roughriders has scored 3. And for Flutie, that's his 11th rushing touchdown of the season.
Good play selection by Doug Flutie, but also the big thing there is that the Saskatchewan defense was playing tremendously soft, and also aided by a very severe penalty at a crucial time, kept this drive alive and allowed the Calgary offense just to march right down at will against Saskatchewan.
Well, I'm sure Don Matthews was saying to his Roughriders in the dressing room at halftime, don't let down against this Calgary team. They are capable of coming back. It's now 35-17 with 10:45 left in the third quarter. Stampeders have scored 2 touchdowns today. Most people expected that Flutie would be responsible for those 2 majors, but they expected he would be throwing into the end zone, not running into the end zone himself.
Well, he was hoping to do that, and I guess as it goes, the throwing is going to come. The touchdown record will come sooner or later, but you've got to stay within the game plan, and you've got, first and foremost, is win the football game.
Dan Farthing back at the 10-yard line on the kickoff return for Saskatchewan. Is thrown out of bounds as he gets up to the 30-yard line by Gerald Vaughn. Kent Austin with his first opportunity to direct the Saskatchewan offense in the second half. What an impressive first 30 minutes he had today at Taylor Field.
And that's exactly what it is. That's the first 30 minutes. Ken is very aware that this is a 60-minute game, and he's got to come back and play it equally as well this 30 minutes for them to have a chance to win.
From the shotgun, he's got Fairholm open, and Fairholm has a first down, taking the ball up to the 49-yard line. Well, Kent Austin certainly spread the ball around in the first half. Elgard caught 5 for 95, Williams 4, Fairholm 2 for 61 yards. Boyko and Narcisse were on the receiving end of throws as well. Boyko for a touchdown. And Austin picks up where he left off in the first half. His second half pass is complete. His second is as well to Jeff Fairholm.
Matt Finley was victimized early with Wallace coming out of the backfield, but now you get matched up on Fairholm, the slot back, with much greater speed, and it's an easy pit. But Matt Finley does an excellent job of running step for step, and the reason that he makes that reception, Fairholm does, is that he's able as a receiver to turn around and pick up the ball. Finley's more worried about going in the coverage for a 36-yard gain.
5 for 115 yards for Fairholm so far this afternoon. Austin for B.K. Williams. 3 completions in a row for Kent Austin. Down to the 16-yard line. It appears to be about a yard shy of a first down. B.K. Williams now has caught 5 passes for 95 yards.
Just dragging underneath the zone, and you know for a fact that when you come in the middle, Big Daddy Pope and A.J. Johnson are going to hit you with it. They know that, and he's able to catch the ball and keep the drive alive.
From the scatter formation, handoff to Wallace. Wallace following the block. Craig Hendrickson, and should have a first down inside the 15-yard line.
Scatter formation just wants to run it wide. It's not that you got to pick up a lot of yardage, but in this situation and in this formation, anything can happen, but it's the counter and just trying to go outside, and Wallace has got good speed and is able to take Anthony up the field and pick up the first down.
Now out of the shotgun. Austin over the middle to Elgard. Touchdown. the second half with a touchdown march, and Saskatchewan comes right back.
And that's exactly what they had to do, because it was essential the way that the Saskatchewan defense allowed Calgary just to run the ball right down the field and march it for a big score. It was essential for Ken Austin to come back and establish that offense again, maintain possession, run the clock down somewhat, and in this case, come up with another major.
Ray Elgard now with 6 catches for 110 yards. David Ridgway adds the point after, and the Roughriders again have a 25-point lead. And the 42 points that the Calgary Stampeders have given up this afternoon, the most points that have been scored against the team this year.
Ray Elgard, where he's most effective, working across the middle, finds the soft spot in the zone, and Ken Austin just leads him perfectly. Great concentration on taking the pass in and then turning it in for the 6 points.
Well, Elgard struggled in the October 10th game at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. He had a pass bounce off his chest for an interception. He had trouble hanging on to a throw down in the goal area. But as Coach Matthews was saying yesterday, you never give up on a guy like Ray Elgard. You know he's going to come right back and follow up with a strong performance, and indeed he has so far today against Calgary. Crawford takes the kickoff at the 25-yard line. Crawford finds a seam. Penalty flag on the play as Ray Elgard forces Crawford out of bounds. Big return by Derek Crawford, and Ray Elgard, who just scored the Saskatchewan touchdown, forces him out of bounds after a return of 40, but there was a penalty flag in the play.
Calgary number 25. 10-yard penalty. First down.
A holding call is against Dave Sapunjas. It appeared as though he was holding Dan Farthing. That takes the ball back to the 50-yard line. It's 1st and 10 at that point for Calgary. Wally Buono now deciding to spend a little time, and I'm sure isn't mincing words with his defensive unit.
Well, he's very instrumental in putting the game plan together. He's taken over some of the responsibilities, so that's why he's over there letting them know how he feels.
Sapunjas makes the catch, but he's going to be dropped for a loss by Maurice Crum.
Doug Flutie's been getting heat all day long, so this is the screen play that they just want to set. Sapunjas fakes the block and then comes inside and then releases out where Doug can just dump it off, but Maurice Crum is having nothing to do with it. Great speed, great.
6:43 remaining in the third quarter. Flutie out of the shotgun. Again, he's being pressured. He's in trouble. He got away from Lewis. He was looking for Sapunjas, who saw his quarterback in trouble and came a good 10 yards behind the line of scrimmage to try and bail him out. But under the tremendous pressure, Flutie had to throw it away, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders will get the ball back with 6:28 remaining in the third quarter.
It's a very inspired defense. They play with a lot of tenacity out there. And again, here's what Sapunjas and receivers for Calgary and any really good receivers do. Once you see your quarterback's in trouble, go back and come back and try to find an open spot. But getting back to about this defense, they love, and they're playing very disciplined stuff. The guys on the outside are pressuring and forcing Doug Flutie to break containment. And then Lewis and Bayless in the middle are putting a lot of pressure and a lot of heat right up in Doug Flutie's face.
They tried to fake, but the whistle had gone because of a time count violation against Calgary. So the Stampeders are trying everything in a desperate way to get back in the ball game.
Time count violation. Calgary number 11. 5-yard penalty. Third down repeat.
One of the things that happens in that situation, Whit, that's Johnson, and he's the guy that usually makes the snap call to get him to snap. But in this case, they're going to fake it to him, and he's so much concentrating on the fake that he forgets to make the call.
Darrell Wallace takes Martino's third down punt back to the 43-yard line, and with 5:58 remaining in the third quarter, that's where Saskatchewan will scrimmage.
It's a good look at Alondra Johnson on the sideline. He was the guy that was in the fake. But what I want you to do is take a good look at his face. His head is looking right at the ball, and he's looking at the center. Most of the time, his place is looking straight upfield, looking at who he wants to block, but he's concentrating on the center. Now, that coverage team, the return team is looking at him. So they know that something is up, and it really does set them off.
Well, the best thing that happened for Calgary on the play is that they were guilty of a time count violation because they were able to kick the football away. Austin from the shotgun. Dumps it off to Boyko. Boyko got away from Vaughn. B.K. Williams with a block, helping to get him to the outside. He got around Anthony. It looked as though Boyko was going to be stopped in his tracks by Gerald Vaughn initially, but he got away and turns it into a first down.
Gerald Vaughn is really having a tough time. When he dumps the ball out here, you see he comes there. He's not under control, and he doesn't break down to be able to make the tackle on Boyko. So as he wraps up, it allows Boyko to slip the tackle and go and pick up a big first down.
First and 10 Saskatchewan. The Riders at their own 53. Algard again. Algard battles his way to the Calgary 40-yard line. Algard now just 10 yards away from the career yardage record of Brian Kelly of the Edmonton Eskimos.
It's nothing like trying to be almost like steer wrestling. In this case, you've got a big bull that you're trying to pull down. You're not going to get him down to the ground with your arms. And Gerald Vaughn has a very tough time doing it.
Saskatchewan again from the shotgun formation. The pass complete to Donald Narcisse. He's wrapped up by Matt Finlay, and his gain will be limited to about 3 yards.
Stampeders number 37, Matt Finlay.
Good look at Don Matthews. Always very intense about this. This game isn't over with. He's not thinking it's won. He wants everybody to polish themselves up and get ready for the playoff race.
Fairholm is the man Austin was looking for. Austin a little upset with himself. He had his slot back open, led him by about a foot and a half too much.
Take a look at Kent. He knew that he had the play called. Kenton Leonard came from a a halfback position from the left of your screen. He blitzes. He knows the center is wide open. The safety has been run out of there, and all he does is just lead him, and the ball sails on him a little bit. As soon as he lets it go, he knows he's missed one that he should have had.
So David Ridgway enters the ball game to attempt a 42-yard field goal with 4:14 remaining in the third quarter. The kick is blocked at the line of scrimmage. Hasselback picks it up and tried to flip it out. The ball is loose, and Anthony comes up with it. So the Stampeders will take over. The score remains unchanged with 4:02 left in the third quarter. By Dave Ridgway.
Look right in the middle of your screen. The good surge up the middle. He's able to take over Paul Vida, get the left hand up, and come up with the big block for Calgary.
The Stampeders take over. First and 10, the ball at their own 21-yard line. Flutie operates from the shotgun, dumps it off over the middle to Wiggins, who has been his favorite target all afternoon. Maurice Crum came over to make the tackle.
Saskatchewan has been playing the defense where they really have been giving in to the shorter patterns. They are not going to let Doug Flutie and Calgary beat them deep on anything, and they're allowing some really soft zones underneath.
Wiggins again. Stopped at the 35-yard line by Carlton Lance. Calgary with a first down from the 35-yard line. 3:12 remaining in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 42-17. Wiggins has caught 8 passes for 87 yards. Sidearm action intended for Andy McVeigh. incomplete. Flutie was being pressured by Bobby Jurison and Gary Lewis.
Bobby Jurison and Gary Lewis, Bayless, and Stuart Hill, all of these guys are just doing a great job in the sense that they're rushing 4 men, and they got 5 blockers against them. And look at the heat that they're getting. Doug Flutie's throwing the ball off balance most of the time as the Saskatchewan guys are getting up in his face.
Flutie's having problems finding a receiver. Now he goes deep for Sapunjas. He's gone. A 75-yard touchdown pass from Doug Flutie to Dave Sapunjas. When it appeared as though Flutie was in big trouble, he managed to avoid the pressure, and Sapunjas got open.
The one thing that the Saskatchewan defense did this time that they haven't done in the past was the sense when Doug Flutie starts scrambling around, everybody locked up on their man or stayed in their zone until Doug Flutie broke the line of scrimmage. This time, Carlton Lance took a look in the backfield. That allowed Sapunjas to beat him deep. Doug Flutie found his favorite receiver wide open. All he had to do was throw it out there and play pitch and catch.
The 14th touchdown reception of the year for Dave Sapunjas, and Mark McLaughlin adds the point after. Sapunjas now has the same number of touchdowns as Eddie Brown of Edmonton and David Williams of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. A career year for David Sapunjas, trying to become only the 9th player in CFL history to have a 100-yard pass receiving season. You see that Williams, Brown, and Sapunjas all have 14 touchdowns. Mike Trevathan of BC has 11. And, of course, the BC Lions are in action tomorrow afternoon at Iverwin Stadium in Hamilton against the Ticats. And for Doug Flutie, his 39th touchdown pass of the year, he's now just 1 shy of the CFL record of 40 established by Peter List of the Stampeders in 1967. Farthing takes it at the 10-yard line. Ball comes loose. Who's got it? Big hit on Farthing as he attempted to split the seam. And it appears as though Peter Miller was able to come up with the football. A sigh of relief for Saskatchewan fans, Mark.
Well, Don, it's Saturday, and that means it's hockey night in Canada with 2 games scheduled on CBC. First, from the Forum in Montreal, it's the Anaheim Mighty Ducks against the Habs, and then those Mighty Leafs from Toronto go at Tampa Bay with an 8-0 streak to start the season. 1 game from a new NHL record. Don?
Okay.
Yes, and the Maple Leafs under Pat Burns, 4 games over 500. Currently on a 2-game swing through Florida. Narcisse on the receiving end of the throw, caught by Gerald Vaughn.
This is the way the guys over on the Calgary Stampeders bench saw this last hit, and it's Kenton Leonard came in, just absolute reckless abandon. Bang! Pushed the shot on, jars the ball loose. As I said, Saskatchewan was very lucky that Peter Miller was able to come up with the ball.
1:44 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Austin throws to the sidelines well over the head of B.K. Williams. Doug Kraft was playing off just a little, and had that ball been in bounds, Kraft might have had a shot at an interception.
And I think that Ken Austin took a good look at where Kraft's position was, and he just sailed it up into the nickel seats.
Well, you never want to count out the Calgary Stampeders. 42-24 is the score favoring the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but Calgary is capable of striking and striking quickly. Brent Mattich getting set with his 3rd down kick. It's a good one. Crawford takes it. Penalty flags on the play. No yards will be the call against Saskatchewan.
Doug Flutie has the opportunity and the ability to make a lot of things happen in a very short period of time. On the other side of the ball, Coach Matthews has to be very disappointed in the way his defensive team has particularly played since coming out of the locker room at halftime.
No yards. Saskatchewan, number 91, 15-yard penalty, 1st down.
Well, the Calgary field position improves. Mark?
As you just said, you can never count the Calgary Stampeders out. I just saw Dave Sapunjas walking up and down the bench telling his teammates, keep it up. You got to believe. Stay up. Had a big smile on his face. A lot of guys were sagging at that time, but he's trying to keep everybody pumped.
And now the fans are trying to get back into the football game as Flutie operates 1st and 10, throws complete to Brian Wiggins, and Wiggins takes the ball to the 42 of Saskatchewan. 1st and 10, Calgary.
Doug Flutie has had really good success throwing the ball underneath the coverage, and it has happened ever since Vincent Donaldson had to lead the game with his head got knocked around a little bit.
9 catches for 101 yards for Wiggins. Crawford is open. He's got another 1st down to the 24-yard line. Wilburn came over to make the tackle. Vincent Donaldson went out at that inside halfback position, and Flutie appears to be picking on his replacement, Carlton Lance. Calgary 1st and 10. This could be the final play of the 3rd quarter. The ball is at the 24 of Saskatchewan. Meroff, in a rare offensive appearance, makes the catch, and he'll have a gain of about 5 yards on the final play of quarter 3. Saskatchewan leading 42-24 with 15 minutes remaining at Taylor Field in Regina. The Riders started quickly, 14-0 in the 1st quarter. Fairholm on the receiving end of a Kent Austin throw. Calgary got an 18-yard touchdown from Doug Flutie in the 2nd quarter, but then Kent Austin went to work, and he managed to score a couple of touchdowns before Flutie made it 35-17 with his 2nd touchdown. But then Saskatchewan came right back with Elgard, and then a 75-yard touchdown pass for Dave Sapunjas, and it's an 18-point ball game as we start the 4th quarter. Meroff again on the receiving end of the throw to the 10-yard line for a 1st down, Calgary.
Bringing in Big Meroff. They're going with their 6-pack here. He was in the play earlier. They've taken out number 26. That's Tony Stewart, who's been probably unfamiliar with this 6-pack, just having played only a few games. But Meroff has been around for the whole season, and he's very, very capable of running this offense.
Meroff, one of 4 receivers Flutie sends out to the right. Flutie dumps it off for Wiggins, touchdown. And he made that one look easy.
Brian Wiggins.
And Wally Buono is signaling to Flutie to go for 2. 10 catches now for Wiggins for 111 yards, and Flutie has equaled the record of Peter List established in 1967. Flutie with his 40th touchdown pass of the year. He had 38 in the 1991 season. Tobin Road initially set the record, 38 touchdown passes for the Argos in 1960. But now Flutie shares the record with another Calgary quarterback, Peter List, 40 passes in a season. Into the end zone, and it was intended for Crawford, and the ball bounced in front of him. So the 2-point conversion try fails. The score 42-30. Saskatchewan leading Calgary with 13:57 remaining in the game.
This looks like patented Doug Flutie offense and Calgary offense. Breaks the containment, comes up the field. The defenders leave their receivers, and then all of a sudden Wiggins is the guy that finds the open area, puts the hands up, waves to Doug Flutie, gives a little clap of done. Doug finds him right at the last minute. No one's around him, and he just walks into the end zone.
And then the 2-point attempt as Flutie was looking for Crawford in the end zone. And the throw lands harmlessly on the turf as Wilburn came over to defend against him. But for Wiggins, a 2nd consecutive 100-plus receiving game. He had 5 catches for 114 yards against the Toronto Argonauts. Wallace waits for the ball at the 17-yard line. And Wallace is tripped up by Doug Kraft. Well, this crowd of 25,000 plus at Taylor Field has been a little silent in the second half. Of the Stampeders are fighting back. Statistically, the Riders still have the edge, but Doug Flutie has certainly improved the numbers that he had in the opening 30 minutes.
He came back and they executed the plays that they should have executed and wanted to execute in the first half. He's getting good performance out of all of his receivers, and his offensive linemen are really buying a lot of time for him.
Flutie dumps it off to Wallace. And Wallace brings it up to the 45. First down, Saskatchewan.
Good call by Ken at this time. He gets a lot of pressure and has been. Those Calgary guys are getting really pumped up. They want to get upfield, get in his face very quickly. Then he comes with the screen. Now he's created the situation, the void between the rushing defensive linemen and the secondary that are dropping deep.
Austin from the shotgun.
Sit down. There you go.
Throws it over the middle to Ray Elgard. Elgard gets to the 52. Seven catches now for Elgard for 134 yards. He needs just 3 more to equal the career total of 11,169 established by Brian Kelly during his 9 seasons with the Edmonton Eskimos. Wallace makes the catch, and Wallace takes the ball to the 40-yard line. Boy, he had about 6 Calgary defenders around him, but still was able to make the catch and pick up a first down.
The good thing that Don Matthews said about Wallace was his pass catching ability. He came out, was able to find the soft spot in the zone, set down. Ken Austin delivered on the money, and then his quick feet was able to get around a few of the people and pick up some additional yardage.
11:56 remaining in the football game. 42-30. Saskatchewan leads. Elgard over the middle. He's got the catch and the record.
And they know it here in Regina.
Now 144 yards for Ray Elgard, and someone had better grab that football for the CFL Hall of Fame. We're going to measure first. Ray Elgard in 11 seasons with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Now the career yardage leader in the CFL, erasing the mark that had been held by a former teammate of yours, Brian Kelly.
And if you look, the next guy on the list was Tommy Scott. Can you imagine those 2 guys lining up on the same team? But this guy, you can't take anything away from him. He's just strictly business. As much as it is for the personal game, it's a matter of let's get out and win the football game right now. That's what is the most important.
And you may have just caught a glimpse of Saskatchewan equipment man Normie Fong heading off to the sidelines. He went out to make sure he got the football. On the second down gamble, Kent Austin keeps. He gets the first down. Well, Ray Elgard has had an absolutely sensational career with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Another 1,000-yard season, a touchdown this afternoon, and this catch to establish an all-time CFL record.
A pattern that he's had great success with through the course of this game, coming over the middle, finding the soft spot. Johnson was the linebacker trailing on him, and then all he had to do was catch it and be patented Elgard.
And I think every member of the Saskatchewan Roughriders knew exactly what was happening. Pass was intended for Fairholm. It's intercepted by Carl Anthony. So with 10:51 remaining in the football game, the Calgary Stampeders on the interception take over. He took much of the enthusiasm out of this Saskatchewan Roughrider crowd with his 6th interception of the year, an end zone pass intended for Jeff Fairholm.
Well, I think that the defense that they were playing, he and Gerald Vaughn were playing inside out. So then at this point, Narco, the outside receiver, comes to the inside. Vaughn picks him up. Fairholm from the slot goes the out and up, and they switch on it, and the corner was sitting out there waiting on the pass. Carl Anthony made a good play on the ball.
First and 10 from the 25. Flutie hit Bruce Covington in the back. He was looking for Sapunjas. Bruce Covington, Big Tuna, as he's nicknamed by his teammates. Is the man that got hit with the football by Flutie. It was intended for Sapunjas. Pee Wee Smith on the sidelines makes the catch for a first down. He was wide open.
Really,
and his big concern was keeping his feet in bounds.
Well, and he did that, but then again, he's taken advantage on the other side. Carlton Lance had lined up as the halfback on that side, along with Albert Brown, and for some reason, Doug Flutie is really seeming to pick on Carlton Lance.
Well, Lance came into the ballgame in the second quarter, replacing the injured Vincent Donaldson. Flutie for Wiggins, and Wiggins is picking on just about everybody today. That's a dozen catches for Wiggins now as he takes it to midfield.
It happens sometimes. It really does that teams go into the locker room with a big lead and all of a sudden came out and they play like two different teams completely. And this is not the same defense from Saskatchewan that we saw. And when they're not playing that way, then Doug Flutie is having the kind of day and the kind of success that he's having here in the second half.
Meroff, first down. And again, on this drive of Calgary's, the receivers simply seem to be standing there waiting for the ball.
They're playing a 3-deep zone coverage where the halfback, again, this happens to be Carlton Lance, is responsible for the flat pattern to the right-hand side of your screen, and you've got Barry Wilburn in the deep third. Lance is just not quick enough to get out there to make the play.
Wiggins, he stays in bounds, and he'll score his second touchdown of the game. This one, folks, is not over. A 42-yard touchdown, his second of the game for Brian Wiggins with 9:07 remaining. And John Matthews has reason to be a little concerned.
Well, he really does. The secondary have just gone to sleep. I don't know what the problem is back there, but it is not the same kind of intensity and the same kind of effort. And I'm not really singling out the defensive line guys. I think they are really working extremely hard. But the guys in the back end, for some reason, decided maybe when they went in that locker room that they punched out of the workplace a little earlier.
Mark McLaughlin adds the point after. 8:55 remaining. And it's a 42-37 football game. Well, the Saskatchewan Roughriders may have thought that they were sending a message to the Calgary Stampeders. Should they meet in the playoffs, the Stampeders might be returning the call right here.
Well, he can't. It's a long throw. Charles Anthony has plenty of time to react to it, but gets behind. He doesn't even make a real solid effort to make a tackle on Wiggins, and that allows Wiggins, then all he's got nothing but pasture in front of him, make a couple of moves, he gets in the end zone.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders back in about 1962 or 63 staged a major comeback against the Calgary Stampeders in a Western semifinal series, a total point affair right here at Taylor Field. Right now, the Calgary Stampeders are attempting to stage a major comeback of their own. They were down by 25 points at the half. Darrell Wallace is the man on the kickoff return for Saskatchewan. He brings it up to the 45-yard line. A 24-yard return after a 55-yard kickoff. Let's go down to the sidelines, and here's Mark.
Don, I just finished talking with Glenn Suter of the Saskatchewan Roughriders to try to get a feel for what's happening in that defense. He says they're playing Flutie at least a lot softer in the second half. That in the first half they were playing the same sort of defense, but they were more aggressive, playing the receivers tighter. Now they're laying off almost in a defensive mode, and it's killing them.
Glenn Suter is the Saskatchewan all-time interception leader with 46 during his career. The pass complete to B.K. Williams for a first down at the 52.
This right now could be, as you see it, the best defense that Saskatchewan has, and that's Ken Austin being able to keep the ball, keep possession, and run time and precious seconds off of this clock.
Quarterbacks and receivers are posting some big numbers today at Taylor Field. You see the stats for Kent Austin. B.K. Williams has been on the receiving end of 6 of those passes for 110 yards. Screen pass to Darrell Wallace. Wallace to the outside. Penalty flag in the play. Donald Narcisse may be guilty of an illegal block on Kenton Leonard.
I think you're right, Whit. It's either Narcisse or it's Jeff Fairholmes. But they came with a safety blitz, Calgary did. Greg Knox left and vacated the middle.
Holding. Saskatchewan number 66. After yards were gained. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Well, veteran center Mike Anderson was guilty of the holding call after the Riders had picked up a first down. The flag came out at the same time that Narcisse decked Leonard, so that was my initial thought that maybe that was where the penalty call took place, but obviously it was a holding call against Mike Anderson. Over the middle, and this man has made some great catches in today's football game. He's been punished a couple of times when he's made the grab. He was able to hang on to the throw over the middle, and another Saskatchewan first down.
Jeff Fairholm, he's not a big man whatsoever, but he is tough and wiry. Makes the catch, knows he's going to get hit, and ducks underneath the tackle of Matt Findlay, and is still struggling and fighting and scrapping to get up and get some real important yardage.
He now has 6 catches for 127 yards. 3 Saskatchewan receivers this afternoon with better than 100 receiving yards. Donald Narcisse makes the catch, and he's brought down at the 17. 6:52 is the time remaining.
Ken Austin, when he has this kind of time, he will cut you to pieces. He stands back here, that offensive line up front, doing an excellent job against Calgary, giving Ken Austin enough time to survey all the receivers down there, and this time his man is Don Narcisse.
And Jeff Fairholm was hurt. He's now out of the ball game. Dan Farthing, his replacement. Austin fumbled the exchange from center, manages to get back on his feet. He'll try and run for a touchdown. He won't get to the end zone, but he'll be very close to a first down. The two teams so far this afternoon have passed for 989 yards.
Bad exchange between Austin and Anderson, but then all of a sudden Ken Austin has an opportunity to pick the ball back up. The defensive front had already made all their moves, allows a little spot and a little light. Ken Austin picks it up, known for his sprinting and running and quick feet ability, gets up and picks up a big first down.
They had to measure to determine whether or not it was a first down, and it was just short. It will be 2nd and inches. Well, Saskatchewan, leading 42-30 earlier, appeared to be putting a drive together when Anthony intercepted in the end zone. And after yielding a touchdown to the Stampeders, the Riders have come back.
This is a free play.
2nd and inches, and Austin's going to make sure of the first down. There is also a penalty flag in the play.
This could be offside against Saskatchewan.
It's a procedure call against the Roughriders.
Illegal procedure. Saskatchewan number 63. 2nd down repeated.
Scott Hendrickson apparently moved prior to the ball being snapped. Jeff Fairholm remains out of the lineup. Dan Farthing is in as his replacement at slot back. 2nd and just over 5, over the middle to Elgard, and he takes it to the 2. Elgard has one CFL career record this afternoon, breaking Brian Kelly's yardage mark. Now his next focus is on the number of receptions of Rocky DiPietro, a career total of 706. Elgard is 19 away. I don't think he's going to get it this afternoon.
You never know in the CFL.
Austin trying to get his 4th touchdown of the day, and he's stopped short.
Austin trying to take a page out of that Doug Flutie book on the quarterback sneak, hoping that everybody's going to be pinching down as they are. But the middle linebacker, he's looking right across at that quarterback's helmet the whole time, and he's going to follow it wherever it goes. And when it makes that break outside the tackle, then Big Daddy Pope is right there to put a stop to it.
From the scatter formation, 2nd and goal from the 1. Austin keeps. I don't think he got there. No signal from the official. It looked as though his forward surge carried close to the goal line, but he did not break the plane. So it will be 3rd and goal from the 1, Saskatchewan.
Johnson and Finley, all of them in there. That's Will Johnson, Alondra Johnson. Great surge off the ball. Just had nothing to do with it. To the booze, Don Matthews sends on his field goal team.
Well, Matthews is thinking win, and at the moment, his team leads by 5 points.
So you're thinking before, when Coach Bono went for the 2 points, that would have mean that they had only to score 1 major, and then they could kick a field goal to tie. So at this point, they would have to still score 2 majors. Now in this case, if they get the 3 points, it still forces Calgary to have to score the major and go for a 2-point conversion.
3:58 is the time remaining here at Taylor Field.
In Regina, where the Roughriders may have to finish this game without one of their top receivers. Jeff Fairholm here taking a terrific hit on his left shoulder from Gerald Vaughn. That has left him with what team trainers call a contused left shoulder. He's been wincing in pain here for the last 5 minutes and now has ice underneath his shoulder pads trying to numb the pain. Don?
And the Saskatchewan defense will be trying to numb Doug Flutie, as Flutie throws to Brian Wiggins, and he's wrapped up by Albert Brown at the 40-yard line. Maurice Crum was also in on the stop. 3:37 the time remaining. The Stampeders in a position where if they score a touchdown, they'll have to go for a 2-point convert, trailing by 8. Flutie on 2nd down, throws complete to Frank Meroff. And Mike Middleton was there to knock him down, but not before he picked up a Calgary 1st down. 50 is the time remaining, and the Calgary Stampeders have improved their field position as Brian Wiggins took a pass from Doug Flutie, and with a rough play call against Carlton Lance, it's now down at the Saskatchewan 34, 1st and 10, Calgary. Wiggins, 14 catches for 188 yards. He has scored 2 touchdowns. Doug Flutie has scored 2 touchdowns.
And Doug Flutie had really been taking advantage of the defensive secondary change that Saskatchewan had to make. Since Donaldson had to leave, Carlton Lance has come in there, and he has been having a big bullseye painted on him because Doug Flutie has been going at him all 2nd half.
Well, whatever took place in the Calgary dressing room at halftime has resulted in improved performance for almost everybody in the 2nd half, including the quarterback, Doug Flutie. Flutie on the quarterback draw, and he dives down to the 27-yard line. Stu Hill put him down, and Flutie is a little slow in getting up, but he apparently is okay.
It's a call play. It's a quarterback draw where he wants to take it from the shotgun and then come straight out the middle. But he's got great quick feet where the defense just closes down that middle. He's able to break it up and get outside.
2nd down and 3, Calgary. Flutie will keep again. He's got a 1st down as Flutie gets inside the 20-yard line, wrapped up by Gary Lewis. Don Matthews has seen a 25-point halftime lead evaporate in the 2nd half, to the point where the Calgary Stampeders are in position to perhaps tie the game. Flutie from the shotgun. Pass is knocked down by Anthony. Charles Anthony. Went up high to knock it away from Wiggins, and Flutie is down. I think Flutie was shaken up on the previous play.
The play when he ran the quarterback draw is when he kind of stumbled a bit when he made the plan on his foot to come back up the middle. Then he broke to the outside and he got hit. So maybe he's having a little problems with a knee or an ankle right now.
Flutie, however, is going to stay in there. The trainer did not have to come out to tend to him. Flutie throws down to the goal area. Incomplete. It was intended for... No, they're ruling that he made the catch and lost the ball as he came down. Will Moore is credited with the catch at the 5-yard line.
Handed Doug Flutie again, just throws it up, and Will Moore goes high in the air, comes down with the ball, feet in bounds. Good reception.
The ball came loose, but the official on the sidelines ruled that he had control and lost the ball when he hit the ground. It's 1st and goal from the 5. Flutie throws over the middle, incomplete.
Knocking that ball down with number
2:02 is the time remaining.
Glenn Suter went down on that, trying to make a break right at the last minute, that his ankle or his knee looked like he gave away. He's really favoring it right now, or else he would have had a chance with that ball being tipped up as high as it was, had a chance for a big interception. The ball's thrown. Boom, it's right there, it's hit. It's Maurice Crum coming by, and it hits him on the shoulder. But as you keep running, if you can see Glenn Suter in the back, tries to make a move, and then all of a sudden his foot or his ankle just seems to give away, and he slipped right down.
Well, Flutie comes over to the bench to talk to Wally Buono on a timeout for Calgary, and Glenn Suter is trying to shake off the effects of the problem he was having during this Calgary timeout. It will be 2nd and goal from the 5-yard line, Calgary.
There'll be a lot of guys tomorrow morning when they wake up that were in this game that they'll know that they were in a battle, because it has been a very, very physical contest out there.
Stampeders have scored 4 touchdowns on their last 5 possessions. And they've got another as Brian Wiggins has his 3rd of the game. And they are now in position to go for a 2-point convert and tie it with 1:58 remaining. Wiggins, 15 catches for 193 yards, a 3-touchdown performance this afternoon at Taylor Field.
Doug Flutie and those receivers have had a lot of success in the second half of running the curl routes and then sliding inside the zone. Wiggins does an excellent job that time. He comes down, fakes like he's going to make the curl inside, then slides to the outside. Doug Flutie leads him for the major.
2-point convert try for the Stampeders. And they've got it. Derek Crawford makes the catch in front of Carlton Lance, and with 1:58 remaining at Taylor Field, this game is tied at 45. Have overtime. The Riders appeared to be in total control of this game, leading 35-10 at halftime. But Calgary has outscored Saskatchewan 35-10 in the second half. Flutie with his 42nd touchdown pass of the season to Brian Wiggins. For Wiggins, his 3rd of the afternoon. The 2-point convert to Derek Crawford, and the game is tied. Darrell Wallace on the kickoff return, and he's done a good job running back kickoffs today for Calgary, or for Saskatchewan, taking it to the 43-yard line.
Then the 2-point conversion. This is the big play right here to Crawford. Pretty good coverage. Crawford sails out, makes the reception. Doug Flutie standing in the pocket, very calm, cool, and collected. The 2 guys that I think that I would like having running the 2-minute offense, both of them are home in the stadium at the same time right now, Doug Flutie and Ken Austin.
And Jeff Fairholm has come into the ball game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The pass was intended for Wallace, incomplete.
Pass attempt to Darrell Wallace was a little short.
Boy, what a comeback by the Calgary Stampeders in the second half at Taylor Field. And the 90 points these 2 teams have scored eclipses the previous high these 2 clubs posted way back in 1960. Saskatchewan 45, Calgary 35. Ball is deflected, intended for Elgard, and there's a penalty flag on the play. It looks as though it's holding against Saskatchewan.
It will be holding against Saskatchewan. Calgary obviously will decline the penalty for Saskatchewan to punt it. Two really serious plays there where...
Holding, Saskatchewan number 59. Penalties declined. Third down.
A holding call against Craig Hendrickson declined by the Calgary Stampeders, and they are going to have plenty of time to take the ball up the field and perhaps put it in the end zone or within field goal range for Mark McLaughlin.
It's amazing the effect that Vincent Donaldson leaving the game has had, because he was one of the keys in the special teams.
Wiggins takes the ball in the dead run, and Wiggins is stopped at the 27-yard line. You're absolutely right. Not only was Donaldson one of the key people on the specialty teams for Saskatchewan, but since he has gone, it appears as though Flutie has been trying to pick on Carlton Lance.
Well, he has been picking on. There's nothing appeared to it, I think, where he's actually been going at him. And the point I was making about the specialty teams is that Calgary had some good success the previous 3 kicks on kickoff and also punts of returning it, but they did do a good job of getting down and shutting down that punt return for very little gain.
How demoralizing would this one be for Saskatchewan if Calgary does pull it out? Flutie's in some trouble. Caught by Gary Lewis from behind.
What an effort by Gary Lewis. Just what a terrific play to this point of the game, to have the kind of intensity and the speed and just the ability to be able to chase Doug Flutie down after a long game of chasing him before and get just an ankle grab. All you got to do is get him on the ground.
2nd and 10. Flutie operates from the shotgun. The 6-pack of receivers, 3 to either side. Just beyond the reach of Dave Sapunjas. .107 remaining. Well, when you talked about having quarterbacks with the ability to move their teams in the final couple of minutes of a football game, Doug Flutie had a chance after Kent Austin failed. Now Austin will get another try.
Well, they have a chance. Calgary is punting into what wind there is. Saskatchewan should get good field position on this play.
The ball hits a Calgary player, and a no yards call will be assessed against the Stampeders. So the Saskatchewan Roughriders are going to get the ball in excellent field position.
It's an unfortunate thing because that coverage team, once they make the snap or they make their block, they're trying to get off of it, get downfield for coverage, and you're trying to work so hard to get down there that you forget to pick up the ball and the flight of the ball. And that's what happened there.
No yards. Calgary number 6, 15-yard penalty. First down.
Well, tonight on CBC Hockey Night in Canada, 2 games for you. The Mighty Ducks of Anaheim will be in Montreal, and the Toronto Maple Leafs will go after 9 in a row when they take on the Lightning in Tampa Bay. And CFL coverage tomorrow from Hamilton, Ivor Wynne Stadium, the BC Lions visiting the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 1st and 10 from the 43, and the Riders right now are going to be content to keep it on the ground and put it within field goal range of Dave Ridgway. We're in the final minute of the football game. Dave Ridgway, who earlier this year had a string of 28 consecutive.
8 of 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 5.
Certainly has the ball within his field goal range. Austin gives to Wallace again in the draw play, and Wallace works his way to the 31-yard line. Dave Ridgway knows the task at hand, and of course he is one who is accustomed to such pressures. His most difficult kick, I would suggest, was in the 1989 Grey Cup game. Final play,
That was a big, big kick for him. And then all of a sudden he had one in the Western semifinal against Edmonton that was blocked.
Wallace picks up about 3 with 14 seconds remaining. Wally Bueno looking over at the clock.
A lot of guys give kickers grief, and they start talking about they're flaky and they got a different, they march to a different drum and they're a different kind of athlete. But they are. But when it comes down, they have absolute ice water in their veins, because in most cases, a lot of times, the games come down to one guy doing his job, and either you're a king or you're a goat.
Well, 4 seconds remain. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have called a timeout, and robo-kicker Dave Ridgway comes into the football game. He has only missed 2 field goals in the windy confines of Taylor Field this season. The wind was almost calm at the start of the game. Now he'll have it at his back. He had one blocked earlier today, but he has only missed 1 attempt inside the 40-yard line. This one is up. It's good. 1 second remains. 48-45. Saskatchewan leads. And unless Doug Flutie can perform a miracle,
which he's capable of,
which he's done.
That's exactly.
The Hail Mary pass at Boston University.
It wasn't pretty, but I'm sure that Saskatchewan will take that.
I guess I should say.
Yes.
Doug Kraft is the injured Calgary Stampeder. The Stampeders were attempting to block the Ridgway field goal attempt. But Dave Ridgway put it through, as he most often does. And the Roughriders lead by 3 points.
Well, they tried everything that they could possibly do, both offensively and defensively, to give this game away in the second half and to come away with a 3-point victory. Not only is it a victory in the standings, but it's also a moral victory for these guys.
With 1 second remaining, time for one play, barring penalty. And the Stampeders scrimmage 1st and 10 from their own 35-yard line. Brian Wiggins laterals it off. The ball is loose. Sapungis has got it. Sapungis back to Flutie. Flutie throws it back to Ken Moore. Moore tosses it out. Wiggins has it. He's the man who started it all. And it's still loose. Penalty flag on the play as the Stampeders. And it's picked up now by Charles Anthony. Final. And the game, I think, is over. But let's wait. I think it was a forward pass by Calgary, and that will end it.
Decline.
What a wild finish here at Taylor Field as the Roughriders survive and win 48-45. The second loss of the season for the Calgary Stampeders. But what a second half comeback by Calgary.
Stand by. Where's the camera?
That also played compounded by the fact it was a second half letdown by Saskatchewan. It really was. I think that the Saskatchewan not playing good defense and not playing good offense for that 30 minutes had more to do with it than Calgary's comeback did.
So the Riders hand the Stampeders only their second loss of the season, 48-45, as Ray Elgard and Doug Flutie enter the CFL record book. Mark?
Don, we're standing by with Ken Austin. Ken, I guess he wanted this thing just to be over already.
I'll tell you what, I mean, they're unbelievable. You know what I mean, to be able to stay, come back the way they did, and then even that last play, they had me nervous. But Doug did a great job. They got a great team, and you know, we're fortunate to win.
This was like Jekyll and Hyde football. What happened? You guys blew that 25-point lead only to win it in the last 4 seconds.
Well, they came out and answered, you know, with the opening touchdowns beginning of the half. We came right back and answered. And I thought that maybe that may take a little wind out of their sails, but they've got a lot of pride and character. They're not going to give up, and they just did a great job offensively.
How did you feel about your own performance? You scored 3 touchdowns, you threw for 3 more, you had 3 receivers over 100 yards.
Well, I felt good about it. I missed Fairholm down here on a crossing route that could have, it was 4, I think we had 42 at that point. That could have made the score 49, and maybe would have given us a little bit more momentum back, but you can't get everything.
And you're part of CFL history as Ray Elgard set the all-time receiving yardage mark.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. He's been a great receiver. He's the best that has ever played up here, and I'm happy that he did it this year.
And what about the message this sends? You could be playing Calgary in the West semifinal.
Well, it doesn't send us a message other than that we both match up real well and scoring a lot of points. So hopefully we'll get there, and if we do, I'm sure it'll be a good game.
Ken, congratulations on a prolific afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Ken Austin, who leads his Saskatchewan Roughriders to a 48-45 incredible victory over the Calgary Stampeders in Regina.